Hello and welcome to Pock and Rob. In today's video I'm going to run through my top 10 live albums. Normally on this channel I do top 15s, but I'm not a huge fan of live albums. Many of them I find quite boring. They have to have something that really hooks me in for it to be an album that I would even consider. Before I dive into that, I just remind you to like the video, hit the subscribe and click the bell to receive notifications of future content. Straight in with number 10, and I have picked the double CD of James Taylor Live. This contains every single song from the James Taylor Greatest Hits album, which at one point I think may have been one of the best-selling albums in the world, along with a smattering of songs from 1976 onwards all the way up to Copper Line. And on top of that, it's got one or two additional covers in it, like She Thinks I Still Care, which is my introduction to the song. I really like that particular song. I believe it was in my top 15 country songs of all time. And The Peach, which is right at the very end, which is a beautiful a cappella version of that Lonesome Road from Dad Loves His Work album. So fine live album, James Taylor Live. At number 10, I have picked probably one of the most important live recordings of all time. It is the Beatles rooftop concert from 1969. Now, I know there's only 5 or 6 songs on here and some of them then get repeated, but this is such an important live album. It's the Beatles' last live ever performance. And they sound amazing. Let's be honest, when you listen to it, they sound incredible when you listen to them back. Many of these recordings were actually used on the Let It Be album that came out in 1970. Rooftop Concert at number 9. At number 8 is an album that took about 10 years to be properly released. It originally came out as an EP called Amoeba's Secret. It was then followed up by a free live CD that was given out with the Mail on Sunday. And then there was another version that had an additional 2 tracks, so it became a 12-track live free CD, until finally the man himself released Live in Los Angeles. It's Paul McCartney. This contains obviously a bunch of Beatles classics. It's the sound of him and his band that he's still playing with on all cylinders, and then there's also tracks from Memory Almost Full, which are better than the versions of Memory Almost Full. For a start, the production on this is good. Memory Almost Full has horrible production. They sound so much better done live by this tight band. Live in Los Angeles by Paul McCartney at number 8. At number 7, I have placed Live Rhyming by Paul Simon. This is the document of his tour after my favourite Paul Simon album, which is There Goes Rhyming Simon. And it contains American Tune, which I love no matter what version I hear that in. I think it's fantastic. There is a bunch of Simon & Garfunkel classic songs on here, like The Boxer, and Paul Simon actually singing Bridge Over Troubled Water, which was, of course, originally sung by Art Garfunkel. It's a good live record, Live Rhyming by Paul Simon. At number 6, I have placed an album that's often cited as one of the greatest live albums ever released. It is Live After Death by Iron Maiden. Now, the first 3 sides of this record are recorded at Long Beach Arena in California and is a document of the incredible live show that they were performing at the time while touring Power Slave. Power Slave's on there, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, Aces High, along with Number the Beast, Revelations. It's a great live album of a band that were probably at that point at their very peak. Side 4, however, which you do not get on the CD issue of this, is from Hammersmith Odeon and contains a few deeper cuts like Phantom of the Opera or Children of the Damned and Die With Your Boots On. It's at its best as released in 1985 as that double vinyl, Live After Death by Iron Maiden. And number 5 is the sound of an artist striking out on their own after their marriage and indeed musical partnership split up. It's Richard Thompson's Small Town Romance from 1983. So Richard on here is singing songs that he's not sung before. Things like I Want to See the Bright Lights Tonight and Genesis Hall from the Fairport Convention era. And it's raw, It's a man who is unsure of their own voice, and it's kind of charming as a result. Small Town Romance by Richard Thompson at number 5. At number 4, I have placed Talking Heads and Stop Making Sense, which is both a live concert and a soundtrack of the film Stop Making Sense that was made by Jonathan Demme, who later went on to Oscar glory with Silence of the Lambs. It's a really, really good both film and live performance. It kicks off with a stripped down psycho killer. We've got the whole visuals of David Byrne in the ridiculous suit until the band starts getting bigger and bigger and added into. I prefer the CD version purely because the second track on there is Heaven, and I think the live version of Heaven that's on there is better than that which is on Fear of Music. It's my favourite Talking Heads album as well. Stop Making Sense, my number 4 by Talking Heads. At number 3, I've placed a triple album, Wings Over America. Now, I said right up front that something special needs to happen on a live album for me to really grow to love it and consider it as an important album. And on Wings Over America, it kicks off with a brilliant medley of Venus and Mars, Rock Show, and then Jet. And then every track that is from Venus and Mars on here is better on here than it is on Venus and Mars. Magneto Entertainium Man, You Gave Me the Answer, Spirits of Ancient Egypt, Medicine Jar, and the best of them all being the live version of Listen to What the Man Said, which the energy levels on it and the playing are so much more exciting, so much more enjoyable than they are on Venus and Mars. It's a good song. Around this, we have Paul doing 5 Beatles songs live for the first time since the Beatles breakup. It's a great live document of an amazing, record-breaking at the time, tour. Wings Over America, my number 3. At number 2, I've placed a live recording of an entire album. And that album is Ram. It's not by Paul McCartney though. It's by Tim Christensen, Mike Viola and Tracy Bonham. It was recorded in Copenhagen on McCartney's 70th birthday, and they run through the entire live album. And then there's a few extra, 6 or so extra other Wings or Paul McCartney classics, and they nail it. It is probably my favourite way to hear the songs from Ram, and that includes the Ram album itself. It shows what robust songwriting is on the album Ram, and it actually pushes Ram up ever so slightly in my affections. Terrific live album. I don't think you can buy it as that. You have to buy the DVD, but it's worth it. You can download the album, but it's worth it. It's so good. Pure McCartney is the name of the album. It's my number 2. And at number 1 is the only live album that I would genuinely consider utterly essential. And this is because half of it is only available in this live format. Johnny Cash at San Quentin. This made it into my top albums of the 60s, and on that I said a live album has to be special, and this is possibly the most special. So whilst you've got I Walk the Line, Wreck of the Old 97, Darling Companion, things that he'd recorded over the years, half the album is unique. 2 versions of San Quentin. We've also got Starkville City Jail and A Boy Named Sue, which he had a hit with. And it's just a great, great album. Johnny Cash live at San Quentin is my number 1. So that concludes my top 10 live albums. Let me know in the comments what you think I should listen to and your favourites. What is it about them that makes them such good live albums? I'll be back in a week alongside my son. We'll be carrying on our top 100 songs of all time. But until then, I'll just remind you to like, subscribe and hit the bell. And I'll see you in a week.